What is going on, guys? Chris Barber the First here. We're back, and welcome back to another episode of Talking Trains. Today, what we're going to be talking about is the biggest thing, and the biggest battle in railroading. What is the better manufacturer? Is it GE or EMD? This one's going to be even a tough one for me to decide. But we will go over basic differences of each locomotive, some similarities in locomotives as well. Again, you're watching Talking Trains on the Chris Barker First Channel. I'm your host, Chris Barker. Let's get this episode underway. Alrighty, up first on the list is EMD. So, what is EMD? EMD stands for Electric Motive Division, or General. We're just gonna stick with Electric Motive Division because that's really what it stands for. So yeah, so what is EMD? EMD locomotives are smaller locomotives, mainly for basically back in the 1900s they were able to pull heavier freight trains. Now these days, now that we got GE in place, the EMD is now used for smaller local freight trains, seen as the one on screen. On screen right now is what you're looking at is CSX GP40. Yeah, let me rephrase that. It's CSX GP40-3, number 6530. And it's got that weird SpongeBob square cab design. I think it looks kind of cool myself, but back to what we're talking about here. EMD has a lot of limitations in GE. Unfortunately, EMDs cannot pull that heavy of trains as GE can, given GE the advantage here. So for pulling power, it's gonna have to go to GE. But when we get back, when we talk about GE, you know, yeah, but we're not at GE yet. We're still in EMD. In the back is GP38-3, number 2058. It's got the same kind of specs as the GP40 here in front, leading. If No matter what, if you got a long freight train and you're just getting pulled by an EMD, you're gonna need some GE power to back you up, because there's no way that these locomotives are gonna pull heavy freight trains over a little grade. That's just impossible for EMD now. Of course, when we're talking back the SD70, yeah, let's talk about that next. The SD70. The SD70s are the biggest EMD locomotives. Actually, you know what? The SD90 is also the same size, so what am I talking about? SD90s and SD70s are the biggest locomotives on EMD that EMD ever produced. Um, these can pull about anything. Like, these things are just as powerful as GE's, just a little bit less powerful than GE, but it's pretty dang close, and it can pull some pretty dang heavy freight trains if you've got the right consist on it. But yeah, if you have EMDs and you need a heavy and you got heavy freight trains, these are the type of EMDs that you need for the job. I will definitely say that. GP40s, as much as I personally myself, I'm more of a EMD type guy. I think they look cooler. Unfortunately, yeah, the SD70 has a little bit of similarity to a GE. I mean, it's got the flared radiator in the back, but GE has it all the way in the back, and this one's a little, it's in the back, but it's not quite touching the back of the locomotive, as you know. Like, it's not all the way at the end of the locomotive. It's somewhat in the middle. But yeah, that is an EMD SD70. ACU's what the model is on this. There's SD70 Ace, SD70 Mac, which I've caught one at St. Denis, and SD70 ACU. And there's also the SD70M, which used to work on Union Pacific. I've not caught one of those. Alright, pretty cool. Alrighty, moving on to GE. Now, GE is the more heftier locomotive in the railroading industry. Now, what we're going to say, well, you're probably wondering, what does GE stand for? GE stands for, I even have a couple of their products in my house. GE Appliances, well, guess what? General Electric. That's what it stands for. General Electric made appliances, and they've also made locomotives. Fun fact. And they're all the same company. But GE has the advantage here, and they do a very good job at their business. I'll definitely tell you that. GE um, is the more heftier locomotive than EMD, and they got the advantage for a couple of reasons. One, they have more horsepower, which means they can pull heavier trains. Two, they got a better parts, more high quality parts than EMD. Not saying that EMD has bad quality parts, but they are better. And three, they're just a more modern design. They just kick EMD's butt for modernization and better technology. For example, in the old EMDs, you would have the dead man's pedal, and I think I experienced it in that tour of the GP30 at the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania in Strasburg, Pennsylvania. That was annoying, and I could see how that could really bug someone. And they would honestly put any object like an old worn out brake shoe or maybe even a piece of concrete on the dead man's pedal to keep the train running, because if you let go of that pedal, the train would let off a warning for 10 seconds, and if nothing would happen, the train would stop. Like, full emergency stop. On GE locomotives, on the new ones, they have this button inside. You just push that, train goes right. If it thinks you're asleep, it'll stop. For safety reasons, all locomotives have to have that. For safety. It prevents collisions. Alright, moving on. So, the newest, as you guys know, GE likes to have the flared radiators, and I think you guys can see that in the back. All the new GEs have the flare radiators. In my opinion, I'm not a big fan of it. I just don't like the flared radiators. I like the flat top, and no problem. I'm just not a fan of it, folks. I'm just not. But, you know, I do like GE locomotives. I think they're kind of cool. But, anyway. So the new GEs, right, and the older ones, right? So the older ones were called, some of them had little short flared radiators, not like today. So GE, or the more modern locomotives, they start off with instead of like a wide cab, they would start off with the standard cab, and then they moved on to the wide cab, as you can see right here. Matter of fact, so GE started at, so couple I know is the C36-7s. They worked on Burlington, Northern, Santa Fe. I think they also worked for Conrail. Yeah, they worked for Conrail as well. Yeah, those are low nose. No, not low nose. Those are standard cab GEs. And actually, I don't think one of those worked from CSX. However, I could be wrong about that. Do not take that. That might be false. I'm not too sure, but I think one of them, they did not work for CSX. Oh yeah, one did. After Chase Maryland collision, the two Conrails were sold to CSX. So I am right about that. A couple did work for CSX at one point, and then they were sold to railroads in Brazil. So yeah, that's where that came from. Okay. So the newer GEs are called GEVOs, and basically GEVOs are GE locomotives in the ES series. Right here we have on screen, as you can see, this locomotive on screen is a GE GEVO, and the model on this is an no, what am I trying to say? ET44AH. That's the model on it. So this is an ET44AH. That's the locomotive model on this. So basically, GEs have better hefty power. They can pull heavier trains. They have better technology. They have more high quality parts. They're bigger. They can haul more. They don't need a string power. Some GEs don't even need power. Okay? They don't even need power. I've seen I-137 as long as like 500 axles be pulled by one GE. That's pretty dang strong. That an EMD would not be able to do that. You would need at least 10 EMD locomotives, GP40s. If it was pulled by a GP40, you would need at least 5 GEs. If you had all EMDs, you would need 10 of them to pull that weight. That is a very heavy train. I-137, that long, yeah, that's heavy. So yeah, GE kicks EMD's butt, I hate to say, because I am an EMD fan, and yeah, EMD kicks GE's, GE kicks EMD's butt. And it's sad to say, because I like EMD, because one of the reasons they produce the high hood GP38-2s, which they are not strong compared to GE at all. I hate to say, no EMD, except the SD70s, are strong as GE. So, GE wins. Alrighty folks, so that was a rundown of EMD and GE locomotives. Unfortunately, GE wins this battle, and for obvious reasons. I mean, they're more heftier, they can pull heavier trains than EMDs, except the SD70s, they can pull heavy trains, but that's the only EMDs that can. Yeah, I mean, if you had a heavy train, you would need at least 10 EMDs. If you were only running EMDs, you would at least have to have 10. And if you add some GEs, you would only need to have 5 GEs with 1 EMD to pull a heavy train. Yep, so that's a little bit of rundown of both companies. I mean, both of them are good. EMD, great for local service, but that's about it. I mean, they cannot pull heavy trains, but you know, it is what it is. Anyway, thanks for watching.